Hello, everyone, and welcome to the program Discuss, your authoritative platform for political analysis, democratic engagement, and national conversations shaping the future of Nigeria. I am Samuel Odi. Many thanks for joining on today's edition of the program. As the countdown to 2027 general elections quietly gathers momentum, Nigeria's political landscape is witnessing fresh calculations, shifting loyalties, strategic retreat, and possible coalition talks that may redefine the country's power structure. Today, we examine the emerging political dynamics surrounding the perceived political retreat of Rivers State Governor Larry Fubara, growing conversation around possible alliances between Peter Obi and Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, and what this development could mean for Nigerians' evolving political order ahead of the 2027 general elections. In Nigeria, questions are being asked by Nigerians if Nigeria is heading towards a major opposition coalition, can regional political interests align around a national objective, and how will the ruling establishment respond to growing political realignment? That is our major focus for today's edition or episode of Discourse. Looking at Nigeria's political atmosphere, the atmosphere is gradually heating up ahead of the 2027 elections, with political actors repositioning across party lines and regional blocs. In Rivers State, the prolonged political tension involving Governor Larry Fubara and forces loyal to former Governor Nyesom Wike, who is currently the FCT minister, continues to shape discussions around influence, survival, and political relevance in the South-South. Observers say recent developments suggest a strategic recalibration by Governor Fubara amid mounting pressure within the state political structure. Meanwhile, speculations continues to grow over possible opposition collaboration involving Peter Obi and Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, two influential political figures with significant youth and regional followings. Political analysts argue that any meaningful alliance between both camps could alter voting calculations across northern and southern Nigeria, with economic hardship, insecurity, unemployment, and governance concerns dominating public discourse. Many Nigerians are asking questions. The country's political class is preparing for a reform or merely another cycle of elite power negotiation. This is what Nigerians are wondering, because Nigerians are on the edge, because they are unsure of what to expect. Some today they'll see a coalition that is looking to forge ahead. Later on, a bit of concern would, get into the whole mix, and then you see individuals decamping from one party to the other. But to join me have this conversation today is a seasoned political analyst and governance expert who will join us to break down all of this. But I'll be introducing my guests properly immediately after this break. Stay with us. All right. While we await our guests to join, but let's get into the conversation of the day. We're looking at River State politics. We're seeing a whole lot of political alignment and realignment, and a whole lot happening in the political space. We've seen, starting from River State, we saw at some point Governor Similari Fubara got impeached for about 6 months when the issue, misunderstanding, I would call it, between the FCT minister and Similari Fubara, the FCT minister was saying that the governor is refusing to hold up to the agreements of or what they discussed earlier before he emerged as governor. Before now, a lot of Nigerians, even people from River State, do not really know who Governor Similari Fubara is before, the former governor of Port Harcourt, River State, brought him to power and then made him his successor and made sure he won. It was alleged that the current FCT minister got the funds for him, made sure he did all of the media appearances, spoke most of the times in all of the campaigns, to an extent where series of political analysts started arguing differently and asking the FCT minister at the time, who was the governor, to let the man speak for himself so as people would get to know him. His background, talking about Similari Fubara, has been within the banking sector. He is known as a civil servant, not as a typical politician. So a lot of persons have been saying, okay, they're not surprised that all of this is happening based on the fact that he does not have a very rooted political structure, just like the former governor of the state, Governor Nyesom Wike. So looking at all of those trajectories now, a lot of persons have said for you to have agreed to something before emerging and coming to power, you are meant to uphold it. So looking at it from those angles now, the battle between these two individuals of who is the supreme leader, who runs the show in River State, keeps intensifying and affecting the development and the growth of the country, of the states, which in the other hand is affecting what President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is set to do within that region, and the aspect of the fact that it's going to improve a certain level of economic development. And as well as you all know that the River State is a region that is highly blessed with mineral and crude resources. So looking at all of those angles, the president had to step in, called for a state of emergency, suspended the governor for about 6 months, when he now introduced a sole administrator in the person of Ibas, who was the sole administrator of River State for 6 months. During his time, talking about the sole administrator, Ibas, who made sure he ran an election, the council polls, which a lot of political analysts, public affairs analysts have argued that it all happened unconstitutionally. So from those lights, he had a whole lot that happened. We saw impeachment calls even after the 6 months of the suspension of the governor Similari Fubara. The House members started, plotting to, impeach him and all of that. Fast forward, we saw the governor, decamping, and then we heard that peace have broken out between his godfather, Nyesom Wike, and Similari Fubara, and then there was peace in the land. For a few, we saw a bit of quiet everywhere within the state, and not to really happen. Fast forward, before then, the FCT minister had made promises of the fact that when they were still having their issues, that he would make sure that Governor Similari Fubara doesn't return back to office, meaning he said at the ballot he would be voted out. Now we're not certain of what is going to happen. We saw during the primary screening over a week ago, we saw the governor, walking away from the screening center. Why that happened, we're not totally sure. Primaries happened yesterday, and he retreated from the primaries. So looking at all of those issues now, there are a lot of concerns going on in River State, which is something that we're going to be looking at, and then we're going to holistically, try to assess it. Now, questions are also being asked. One of the questions I'm asking now is, all of these things happening, all of this realignment and all, is it being done in the favor of the people of River State, or it's being done for selfish interest? Now, why is the FCT minister saying he's going to make sure that Governor Similari Fubara does not get back for the second term? And again, why is that happening? Is it that Governor Simnai Fubara does not have what it takes to provide or deliver good governance to the people of Rivers State? Or is it because a couple of agreements that was had earlier is not something that the governor is looking to uphold? Is that the reason why the minister is saying this would not happen? Well, is he putting his own interest or above the interest of the population of people of Rivers? Now, we have two parties. Literally before now it was PDP and the APC in Rivers State. Currently it looks as if some persons are arguing that currently both in the APC and in the PDP, that is one person that is the national, the sole, that is the one leading those two forces in the state, because the campaign that we saw from Governor Simnai Fubara from PDP to the All Progressive Congress, a lot of persons thought that, okay, the issues it's having with the FCT minister would be water under the bridge, but it's not seeming so because of the fact of what is currently happening. You know, looking at the APC party in Rivers State, the governor of the state is supposed to be the leader, but he's not being treated as such. He's not being accorded that respect which, you know, he deserves. Some persons have argued that sometimes even the governor's driver would not move until he gets a command. We don't know how true that is. A lot of persons are alleging it, but still looking at it, he is the governor. Before the campaign, we saw the Akwa Ibom State Governor, Umoyeno, the campaign, and then he said, his own terms was, I'm going to come back for second term, and every other person in my cabinet would get the same opportunity to come back for second term. But currently, that is happening in Akwa Ibom State. We keep seeing people from Akwa Ibomites, you know, emerging for their second term, and those that, you know, had to wait their turn are also coming out. Things are seeming to go well in that state. But differently now, we are seeing something different happening in Rivers State, which is of a very big concern. Why is Governor Simnai Fubara not getting the same recognition, not getting the same accolades as other governors of the APC? Other people are getting their own takes easily and then getting tickets called back quietly, but still, this is still not happening for Governor Simnai Fubara. We'll be finding out why all of this is happening and why he is being, what I say, singled out. And again, we're seeing a very strong alignment and movements coming up on a coalition coming up between the former minister, former governor of Kano State, His Excellency Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, and also we're seeing a very strong movement from the former governor of Anambra State, His Excellency Peter Obi, coming together to run together for the office of the presidency under NDC. And then we saw NDC automatically, you know, handing the sole presidential ticket to His Excellency Peter Obi. We're going to look at how this now will take the trajectory of what we're seeing in the Nigerian political space. We're seeing how these two individuals, if they have what it takes to be able to deliver and go all through come 2027 election and win. We saw a massive wave when Peter Obi and Kwankwaso were both in the ADC. We saw the waves that the party was having at the time. And then due to the crisis, internal crisis within the party structure, we saw these two individuals leaving the party to the NDC. So far now, we're seeing them in the NDC, and the NDC have given them have given Peter Obi the automatic tickets. Now we will see how this will reshape the economy, the election process that is coming up shortly. Looking at all of this now, the ADC is still there. On the other hand, where His Excellency former Vice President Atiku Abubakar got his from to run for the presidency under the ADC. We saw the former minister also and the former governor of Rivers State, Rotimi Amechi, also picking up a ticket to run for the presidency under ADC. So now these two individuals will go slug it out at the primaries, and we've all known since 2015 the Vice President Atiku Abubakar has never lost a primary election. So on those grounds now, what does it mean? Again, will the ADC be in the balance because they have some court consent? Will Simnai Fubara still be on the ballot? We're hearing that after the primaries yesterday, he retreated, and conversations and people are alleging that his brother is also a member of the APC and is looking to run for the governorship of that state. So, looking at all of this now, we have seen someone again, an individual who is a member of the PDP, who is also trying to vie for that seat, the governorship seat in River State. So we'll be finding out all of these things, and that will be again after this break. So you stay with us. We'll be right back. All right, many thanks for staying with us. If you're just joining, this is Discourse. We are set to get right into the conversation. To join me, analyze and have all of this conversation is a seasoned political analyst and a governance expert. So break down this unfolding developments and what they may mean to the future of Nigerians' democracy. His name is Sadiq Ibrahim. Sadiq Ibrahim, thank you so much for joining us on today's edition of Discourse. Sadiq Ibrahim is a political analyst. Yes. All right, thank you so much for joining us. It's good to have you on today's edition of the program. Okay, so looking at you've been following the political scene and everything that has been happening. Let's start with that of Rivers State. We know the story from the issue between him and that's talking about the governor Simlari Fubara and his the former governor of the state, who is currently the FCT minister, Nyesom Wike. Looking at it, they've had issues, series of issues that led to Mr. President stepping in and calling for a state of emergency and introducing a sole administrator for the period of 6 months. Afterwards, we saw, the governor coming back. We saw a couple of talks around impeachment. We saw other concerns about him having issues within the PDP, which led him decamping to the APC. So looking at all of this now and looking at the political structure in River State, why do you think that Governor Simlari Fubara is not getting fair treatment just like other APC governors are getting?
Thank you. In the case of the current Rivers State governor has been lingering on for quite a while. But if you have to take it from where the journey started from, you know that Fubara is obviously coming to this end, because it is like the godson trying to break away from the godfather. The godfather, Nyesom Wike, has consistently insisted that is not going to let it go. But first of all, let us look at where the journey started from. In 2023, Fubara was just an accountant. Of course, he was a civil servant, and he was actually not a politician. So it was from this role that he was Wike single-handedly enrolled him to be his successor. When he did it against his very close ally, like Isaac, like George Das. So all these things happened then. So eventually, through PDP machinery, which Wike used, he was able to got victory. Up till the victory, they celebrated. The honeymoon was just like from that May to December. It was from that May to December when issues started cropping up. And what came out was the issue of money, issue of appointment, issue of who gets state structure. Wike, this generated a lot of heat. And with this heat within who owns River State, who owns River State resources, who control the political structure in River State, that generated into all the crises that you have seen along. And this crisis started from the issue of the State House of Assembly, when crisis, they tried to impeach him. There was the time they had a parallel assembly. They went to court, 4 against 29 or so, as at that time, or against 32. The 4 for Fubara and 29 for Wike, the godfather. But the core issue, again, remained that the appointment being made, the contract being given out, all these things, Wike was becoming uncomfortable. So he had to jump in. And that crisis again led to where the president had to come in and lay, when he tried to broker peace, eventually what happened was that they said they have either 7 or 8 points of resolution. Of course, 8 points agenda, which was not made known to any person except those who attended the meeting. And one of those agenda, as was later meant to know people to know, is that Fubara will not contest for the second time. And this was before the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria that is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Then again, that you should recall, the House of Assembly were suspended. He said he was directed to recall them, which he did. And that romance did not last too long, because when it came to issue of submitting a budget, there was still a standstill, there was still crisis. So that crisis nosedive into several other things that eventually there was, in fact, this was even after the state of emergency. After the state of emergency, when all of them were covered, the state of emergency was for 6 months. So after the state of emergency, both the House of Assembly and the executive were asked to return. And when they returned, they didn't cease fire, because the budget presentation become issue. Fubara said he has already presented the budget, and when they went to court said all those things are trash, so they have to start again. Of course, this did not stop, because Wike saw this as a betrayal, and Wike, in his own case, is not somebody that pretend he has a quarrel with you, and he saw it that he has to fight for the soul of a political structure of Rivers State. So after all this, Fubara have to stand still, make sure that, look, he has to call himself the governor, because there are equally people who are supporting him, who are making him to believe that, look, we are the governor, you can stand on your own, and this is supporter. But we can move in massively with what we call a coalition. In this coalition, despite the fact that the starting point was when Fubara moved to APC, and Fubara was made to know that he's in the control of APC, the APC structure, that the State House of Assembly that are there is in control of them. But this did not happen, because we came moving in and said he's still the one in control. Eventually, what he did was to form what he call a coalition. The coalition now, because he is in PDP, everybody knows that Wike is in the PDP. Wike has a slice of PDP that is still using today as being in PDP. So he with that slice, he came into APC and formed what he called a coalition. And that coalition was what he used to went around. I think around that time the president traveled, and when the president came, another peace meeting was called to resolve this thing. So that peace meeting actually did not resolve much, because some of the governors were now taking cue behind Fubara. Their particular governor that was in face-to-face with Wike on this issue. So Wike had to double his effort. Wike seems to have the edge, because he has the structure, he has the ear and the eyes and everything of the presidency. Don't forget that there is this Tinubu calculation, and what Wike did for Tinubu in the 2023 election, and the 2027, coming 2027, Tinubu again the president have to ensure that he should be able to manage, to choose whom to take within Wike and Fubara. From all the outlook so far, it is like the president have taken Wike against Fubara. And this is the point we are up to the time they went for the screening, collecting form, and all these things. When the issue of collecting form for screening, APC screening. So the APC screening came, and what we saw there was very clear that Fubara has no chance, because even himself was hardly screened by the committee. He's nominated 32 members of House of Assembly that was approved. That was approved, was not screened, was equally not allowed to pass through the screening. But all the 29...
Hear me. Let's go on a very quick break, and then when we return back, this conversation continues. Kindly hold that thought. We'll be right back immediately after this break. interesting. Okay. All right. Interestingly, we are having the conversation with Sadiq Ibrahim, who is taking us back to memory lane of how the whole, crisis began with and the political war between Governor Simla Fubara and his godfather, the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike. We all know that Governor Simla Fubara had always been a civil servant in the accounting department and does not have a very strong political background like the FCT Minister who started his political career from the grassroots. So I still have Sadiq Ibrahim, who was trying to share his thought on the role the president's part to play in what is currently happening in River State. So yeah, before we went on that break, Ibrahim, you were trying to, bring up to speed with what happened around, the consensus and again the budgetary and all of that. Please go ahead.
Yes, the issue of Fubara was almost cleaned out, but it became confused. His political structure was entirely weakened. There was no person to even run to, because those behind him, the National Working Committee of the APC political party that were quietly taking support with Fubara, it was like they were asked to hands off. And even a particular governor even almost have a crisis based on his hand. And it became obvious that the president's interest here is some weakest interest. So as at this point, there is nothing. When you look at the structure on ground, whether you go through direct primary, of course, why Fubara faction are thinking about having direct primary to take control of grassroots support. This the other weaker group was saying indirect primary. So when it became very obvious that whichever way you go, because when you look at this political structure, when you look at what is on ground, there is nothing out of it. There is nothing that favors Fubara. Even the state elders have no control. It is like there is no person in River State other than Yisom Wike, and he has all the structure, whether it's State House of Assembly, whether it is even those contesting for the National Assembly position, either the Senate or the rep membership, and the House of Assembly members, and the local government. So, and those who have political appointment, all of them seems to have taken clue with the Rainbow Coalition, and the Rainbow Coalition is Wike's own. It is sad and disheartening that this is how we are going to run our democracy, where one person hijack the whole political destiny of a state because of the resources that is there, and it seems there is no one to check him. So since there is no one to check him, no one to check his excesses, that is the FCT, the current FCT governor, then he has his way all through, and anything can happen. And you can see, what you see now is that even when Fubara came and said, because he wants peace, because he wants unity, and all these things, he has asked his supporters to go, that is surrendering, whether he call it surrendering, as is withdrawing. Even though some people are not happy, some of his supporters were not happy. But I think at this point in time, he has taken the best decision because he has fought the fight to a level that he could not go beyond. Going to the field to contest, either direct or indirect primary, these people has really consciously organized how they are going to disgrace him out with the connivance of people on top. Unfortunately, the River State, as it is now, belongs to Yisom Wike. All the political structure, whether it is Rainbow, whether it's APC and PDP, all and the other miscellaneous political party, they are there. So, which means the people have no say. And Wike has not pretended about it, that he is in control, he's in charge, and whatever he say must happen. Let heaven fall, and that's what will happen. And exactly that's what is happening now, because the president too has his own interest.
Do you think that the president is not siding with his party member because of the fact that Wike has more political grounds in the state, and if he sides with his party member, who is the governor Siminalayi Fubara, you think it's going to affect him, the voters turnout he'll be receiving in River State? Is that what you're saying?
Political member of the president, because Wike is a political hermaphrodite. He's both in APC and PDP. So whichever side the president decides to take, of course, Wike is there. So as I said, what we are saying is that it is not even the issue of political party now. It is the issue of political party is a matter of alphabet, APC and PDP. So it's a matter of alphabet. But what I believe we are talking about is that coming out to support Fubara or to support Wike. So it is obvious from all intents and purposes, because the president himself told all the governors of APC to go and take charge and control of the states, primaries, nomination of candidates, and all these things. So as it is today, we can see very clearly that Wike is being supported by the president. You don't need any person to tell you. You don't need a soothsayer. And the Wike is not hiding it. The president is not hiding it. And all of them are playing to Wike's game. Yeah, and this is unfortunate for our political development, where Godfather, we know Godfathers are very strong. And the president himself being a godfather have been a godfather, and he knows what it means. And maybe that's why it's not just because of the coming election alone. That's why he's taking, he's queuing behind his colleague. This is colleague in godfatherism now. He's taking side with him, but they will have allowed people to make their choice, make their the internal democracy of that party to function effectively. Let's see if Wike is going. If Fubara is going to lose to the people, but not losing to the political machinery of Isom Wike, even though that machinery brought him from a non-political actor to being a political actor today. So I believe that there is no hidden, and the president knows. The president seems to have known what Wike is capable of doing, and I don't know whether that is fair. Wike is not hiding it, that this is where he is. He's behind the president, and the president is behind him. That's what I can say as far as I'm concerned.
All right. So now let's look at the other conversations, looking at the Peter Obi and Kwankwaso alignment, Rabi Musa Kwankwaso, of former governor of Kano State. Looking at these individuals and the fact that the NDC gave His Excellency Peter Obi the sole presidential ticket for the NDC. Walk us through that and the two coalition and the coming together of Peter Obi and Rabiu Musa Kwanko. So what power do you think this holds towards the 2027 general elections?
Thank you. In the normal political climate where democracy functions effectively, these are very strong political. It's a very strong political combination. The combination of Peter Obi, and Rabiu Kwankwaso, there is no doubt that they can win election. But let us look at the factors, available factors to us, whether that will happen. First of all, you see where Peter Obi moved from. Gradually, he moved from PDP. I think PDP in recent time, I'm talking about, he moved from Labour. When he moved from Labour Party, for a while he hibernated and he joined the ADC. And he saw that ADC is becoming unsuitable for him to fly to express his intention or fly his presidential ambition, so he left there to join NDC. So I find looking at this combination, why do we think Peter Obi can win? And when you look at it in what happened in 2023, the political platform then was Labour Party. And there were so many interplay that give Obi that hand. The government in power then, or the APC in power, people are dissatisfied with the method of governance. And they feel, the APC, they felt then that APC should be defeated. And we have another group of young and vibrant youths. And you know the size of our youth population. All of them massively mobilized to support Peter Obi that time. And you can equally see that what happened then was that there was this Muslim ticket issue that was a factor because Peter Obi was even moving from one church to another to see whether that will, of course, that added to his vote. So this was issue, and the regional support, because the southeast people gave him a vote of not less than not less than over 80% of the vote from the Southeast. Then, all this, what happened then was that Peter Obi was able to mobilize those resources. Then what are the shortcomings that actually defeated him, that made him his defeat so glaring, even though they went to court and he claimed he won the election, is that there was no grassroots structure. This grassroots structure, the question we now ask is that, has NDC getting that structure? Because this is where election is won. Whether you want to rig, whether you want to win genuinely, do you have the structure? In the NDC, that NDC came into limelight recently. That's why it was regulated since, but we don't know whether they have the structure, whether that structure the APC has, they can outsmart APC. In APC, they have not less than 31 state governors as for now, and you can see that all of them will try to get 15%. I mean, 25% is required. In some places, they will get more than that. So this is my fear. This is my fear, that whether they will be able to quickly go into the grassroots politicking, as the INEC has put in some barriers. The barrier is that all the political timetable becomes so put together that it is as if it is to disorganize the opposition. And unfortunately too, if the coalition that is required, even as at that time, there was no coalition. Because when you see that PDP was defeated during Jonathan, there was this coalition. The coalition was very strong enough that defeated Peter Obi, that defeated Jonathan then. So people were thinking that coalition will have come out in ADC. But you can see the legal battle the ADC was fighting. And up to now, that legal battle is still hanging. So except they can build coalition, go back to where they are coming from, to convince them very fast, to convince them that, look, one person will be the president, one person will be the vice president. As it is, let us come together. Unfortunately, too, there is no time again for sharing any political positions, because by an INEC timetable, if you are not in a political party at a given time, there is no way you can run to another political party now. Otherwise, all those who felt aggrieved in what they saw in the primary conducted by APC in recent time, will have moved en masse. I know they will have moved en masse to APC. I mean to NDC, because it's supposed. I mean, one will look at it as a very strong opposition, but as it is now, well, I don't know, because INEC is there. When you look at the role the INEC is playing, in the past, we have that confidence in INEC from all election conducted so far, and the recent INEC behavior. There is a trust deficit within the electorate, even the aspirant, the candidates of the role INEC is playing. So I don't know whether they have a policy they want to sell to the electorate, because what happened then was what made him to come out so strong was he capitalized on the weak economic policy, the economic hardship of the people. He capitalized on insecurity, and he capitalized on corruption issue. And this issue are still there. In fact, it is even getting worse. So none has been able to solve. So how he's able to market this to the electorate will be another very key factor that will play into his capacity, possibly his capacity to win. But coming to analyze it again, when you look at the regional policies, you look at that the advantage is going to have, if he can equally take advantage of it, is that from the south side, the former president Jonathan is contesting. From the southwest, Makinde, the current governor of Oyo State, Governor Makinde, under APM, want to contest. And again, I don't know whether Adewale, is it Adewale of SDP, we contest. And if these parties, if these are shared, if the southern political votes are shared, and is able to grab southeast as he did the other time, and is able to have the support of the vibrant youth, the youth that has even the majority vote, the youth population that are qualified to vote now, they can use that. Then when we come to the north, particularly the northeast, the Kwankwaso has its own followers, even though that these followers have been divided by Yusuf Abba moving to APC, and Ganduje, even Ganduje, no one knows where he will stand because he's strong. But let us say even Ganduje vote and APC, Ganduje vote and Yusuf Abba's vote that is going to gather for the president. There is no doubt about it that the president is going to share that vote in Kanu, in Jigawa, possibly with Kwankwas, with APC. So it depends on how he can go inroad into the north. Going inroad into the north, of course, in the northeast, you have people like Atiku there, and he still has his own share in the northwest. So it is only in the north central that is going to be a battleground. That battleground, because of the population of his followers in the north central, whether he can cash on it. But as it is now, honestly, if you conduct election today in Nigeria, given what is on ground, when you look at the political past of Peter Obi, even though Kwankwaso have joined him, because almost in all the northern states, majority of northern states, he didn't have more than 10% votes. So he has less than 5%. So he needs a lot of work to do at this level. And the advantage he has is that the North too is preparing for change, and they are ready for change. It depends on how Kwankwaso can come out of Kanu, where his political base is, and talk to other northern voters and woo them to take side with them. Otherwise, if you conduct election today, there is hardly any state APC will not.
Thank you so very much. I really wanted to have more time to talk to you, but time is no longer our friend. Thank you for all of your input on the matter, and hopefully, maybe these two individuals, His Excellency Peter Obi and Kwankwaso, are actually doing what you have highlighted for them to do. That is going down to the grassroots. Thank you very much for taking our time to join us on today's edition of Discuss. Sadiq Ibrahim, who is a political analyst.
Thank you for having me, and I'm really very sorry that we could not connect on time due to.
I am Samuel Udi, and then I'll see you again as we discuss further. Bye for now.